Welcome back, everyone, to Global Government News. Today is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2010, and I'm Darko. New listeners, please go to my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. This first article up in part 2 of this news bulletin is Pope Benedict endorses condom use for male prostitutes only. It said Pope Benedict says in a new book that condoms can be justified for male prostitutes seeking to stop the spread of HIV, a stunning comment for a church criticized for its opposition to condoms and for a pontiff who has blamed them for making the AIDS crisis worse. Let me go on to this next one here. Vatican ordered hit on Pope John Paul II. This is from November 2nd. I've been trying to get to this article for 2 weeks. The man responsible for an assassination attempt on the late Pope John Paul II has stated in a television interview that, quote, the Vatican government had ordered the hit. It says, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name accurately, but I'll give it a shot. Mame Ali Aga, recently released after spending 30 years behind bars, stated on Turkish national television that, quote, the Vatican government decided on the Pope's assassination. Quote, they planned and organized it. The order to shoot the Pope was given by Vatican Secretary Cardinal Agostino Casaroli, he said. He said he was arrested in 1981 after he shot the Pope in the St. Peter's Square. At the time, he claimed that he had acted alone. Later, however, Agca testified that he was paid by the Bulgarian Secret Service. To date, however, the motive behind the attempt remains unknown. So we're going to keep moving. And then more news on the Pope. Benedict heralds possibility of resignation if his health fails. So Benedict the 16th has said he would become the first Pope to voluntarily resign in more than 700 years should he become physically or mentally incapacitated. So he's got the nice Knights Templar little cross on him. And two things I'd like to point out. I'm not bashing religious people or Christians. I'm just saying that, you know, the rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper. Two things that I would like to say about this is, one, if you don't know this, I think many of you are aware, is that this individual was a Hitler Youth. Now, he's from Germany. And he comes from, you know, I guess a better-off family, and those families tended, the children tended to go into the army under the Hitler Youth. So, but either way, it kind of points more towards him being the powers that be's man. You got, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's father was the SS cook, and then you have von Hagens, who's a scientist. And his father was, you know, in the SS, and you find this a lot. But the other thing I'd like to point out, too, that's significant to this story is that whether you believe everything he says or not, or whether you believe in prophecy or not, I'll just throw it out there. Nostradamus predicted that the Pope of the, I believe it's Olive Branch, which would be this Pope, Pope Benedict, would be the last Pope to reign. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Next one up, Dalai Lama gives strong hint at retirement. This story came out the same day as the previous article. It says that the Dalai Lama has given the strongest indication yet that he plans to retire from political life, and that it could be as soon as next year. So, and that's a hard job to have right there, being twisted around politically as basically a tool and a puppet and a Gumby doll. So I'd be wanting to get through with that that position as soon as possible if I were him. Drug dogs sweep school. It says here 6 police dogs were brought to Chesterton High School on Friday morning to see whether any students had illegal drugs in their lockers. Chesterton police said one of the dogs was alerted to the presence of drugs in a sophomore boy's locker, and it led to the recovery of a small bag of marijuana. Ooh, uh-oh. Where's the victim? Oh, there is no victim. But we're going to arrest him anyways. And they arrested the student, who was then charged with possession of marijuana, i.e. vegetation. So he said the boy told the police he had been smoking marijuana since 7th grade, was taken to juvenile detention center. So there you go. And, you know, what do I think about this? Well, all these little raids, because we actually had them here. This is my neck of the woods here, just in case you're wondering, Northwest Indiana. I went to 4 years of a private school, Catholic school, and for high school. I did go to public school and grammar school, but I also went probably about half-half, public and private. So I had the opportunity to see, you know, to experience both of those worlds. But you know, they still had the dogs coming through, and they still had police in the door every morning. The little police, you know, officer, a regular cop, not security, but a regular police officer, city police officer, standing there at the door. And then they'd be there at the lunch, and you'd always see them. And then they would do the raids. They would do the raids through the high school. And so what that's doing, just like the body scanners are doing to the young people now, as they're being groped and prodded and forced to go through these things, through these body scanners and these enhanced pat-downs, is that they're being conditioned to accept this, so that, you know, when they get older, it's just a part of life, because that's what it's going to be. See, people are thinking that this is going to go away. Well, it's not. The war on drugs isn't going to go away, and the enhanced pat-downs and body scanners are not going to go away. So the best thing you can do is just, you know, let the older people, the older generations, bang their pots and pans, kind of like what I'm doing, you know, but, you know, kind of target all of this stuff towards the young people, so that, you know, it's going to be there, like I said, no matter whether you like it or not. So let's just train the younger people to accept it, get them to capitulate, you know. And that's exactly what these raids in high schools do. They let you know that your private property is not private. So next one up, Hispanic lawmakers seek DREAM Act vote, and it says Congressional Hispanic Caucus leaders huddled with President Barry Soetoro on Tuesday to discuss immigration issues and the lame duck Congress, but no clear strategy emerged. Obama and his Hispanic Democrats reiterated their support for the DREAM Act, which would provide a path for citizenship for immigrant youths illegally brought into the United States before they were 16, and both called for the House and Senate to vote on the measure before Congress adjourns for the year. So, next one up is from the Economic Collapse. This is a really good website I like to stop by for any kind of economic news. It says Full Spectrum Dominance, 8 examples of how the government is attempting to take total control of our food, our health, our money, and even our dignity. So, and it goes through here and it says, number 1, taking total control of our food. And this is Senate Bill 510, the Food Safety Modernization Act, which I also have right here, all the bribes that went to each people. And it's very interesting. You should come and check this out. The link will be posted. It says, have some senators been paid off to support Senate Bill 510, the Food Safety Modernization Act? Well, you bet your ass they have. And some of them have been paid a lot of money. Some of them $500,000. And you'll notice that, you know, states like Montana, where there's, you know, it's a pretty small government, self-government type state, and you can see all the money that you know, that flows in there, and it's like, see, there you go, there's Montana, there's one, and you're like, why, you know? And it's like, because there's a lot of resistance. So all this money that's paying off all these, you like North Carolina, tobacco state, you know, and then you got like Georgia, the cotton state, right? So see what I'm saying? It's, these are all whatever's left of agriculture. And it has to do with GMO food, and it has to do with all the other regulation stuff. And these people are, like I said, small government type people, and they don't want all these regulators and these RFID for their cattle and all that crap. And so there you go. But moving down, it says number 2, taking total control of air travel, the dehumanizing full body scanners and enhanced pat-downs. Number 3 is taking total control of our health care, the loss of our health freedom. That's right. If you want to get apricot seeds or amygdalina or Laetrile, you're going to have to go to Mexico to get that, just like you're going to have to get a lot of the hemp. You're going to have to import that from Canada, because, see, the U.S. doesn't do that. They're controlled substances. Number 4, taking control of our money, multiplying taxes. Number 5, taking control of our businesses, thousands of ridiculous regulations. Number 6, taking control of our environment, the green police. So keep moving on. Number 7, taking away our independence, the exploding welfare state. It says here 1 out of every 6 Americans is enrolled in the federal anti-poverty program, i.e. food stamps, they're at a record high. Taking away our patriotism, we are even losing the freedom to be proud of America. That's right, I covered Cody, that's right, trying to fly his American flag and on his bike in the public school, and the students were all up in arms, and basically he capitulated and he had to just take it down just to, you know, keep the peace. So, but the good news is that Senate Bill 510 and it being voted or legislated was delayed until after Thanksgiving. You know, it says take action now to oppose food tyranny. So, and like I said, the link will be posted. Go there and check out all the bribes that went to all the senators as they sell us down the river. All clear given at Boston Airport cargo area. Says a bomb squad has issued an all clear after examining 2 suspicious bags found in a cargo area at Boston's local international airport. And this is just a standard operating procedure, guys. You know, it's all over the place. Even here in Indiana, they just shut down expressways because there's a suspicious, you know, tire on the side of the road. You know what I mean? It's getting totally ridiculous. And you can say, well, I think they're just being a little too, you know, getting a little too crazy. No, they're being told to do this. So they're getting a lot of pressure from the federal government, and all the federal government, the state, and the local are all infused together, and they're all one unit. So they're all in lockstep. Airliner makes emergency landing at JFK. A U.S. passenger plane bound for Mexico with 204 people on board has returned safely to a New York airport after facing an engine problem shortly after takeoff. So we're going to move on here. Karzai, NATO support insufficient. The Afghan president was warned that his country may switch to alternative sources for equipping its army if the US-NATO military alliance fails to do so. And yeah, they want the West out of their country. U.S. held talks with fake Taliban head. Senior Afghan and U.S. officials have confirmed reports of a series of secret peace talks with a fake Taliban leader in Kabul over the past month, the media report says. Next one up is Afghan farmer killed in U.S. airstrike. U.S. forces have killed at least 1 teenage Afghan farmer and seriously wounded 4 others in Afghan's troubled southeast. Next one up, Castro bashes NATO military mafia. Cuba's Fidel Castro has called NATO a military mafia involved in a genocidal war in Afghanistan as the alliance vows to keep troops there beyond a 2014 deadline. That's right, they're going to keep them past 2014 in Afghanistan and possibly even Iraq. Israel still spying on Lebanon telecom. This is all the time. A Lebanese minister says Beirut has found new evidence over Israel's illegal espionage activities in the country's telecommunications center. Bahraini children tortured by government. The Bahrain Center for Human Rights says the children were among the victims of the latest crackdown on pro-democracy activists in the Gulf state. Journalist shot in Russia. The editor of a local newspaper in Nazran, the capital of Russia's North Caucasus Republic of Ingushetia, I have never heard of that, has been shot and wounded. And man, I'll tell you, dude, out there in Russia, in that area, you do not want to be a journalist. You'll get shot, dude. I've already covered like 3 or 4 articles, stories of a journalist being killed. So, next one up is police killed doctor in western Mexico. Security forces have by mistake shot dead a doctor in western state of Colima during a raid to hunt down the killers of an ex-governor. There's been a lot of Mexican public officials that have been murdered this year, at least 50. In China, public shaming rallies recall Maoist-era tactics. Check that one out. Got to keep moving. BP faces new hit over spill in Alaska. UN worries its troops cause cholera in Haiti. That's a big story right there. At the heart of Haiti's cholera riots, anger at the UN. Well, they're angry at the UN because they believe that the UN brought the cholera epidemic to them. And it's like, there's a lot of Haitis, I bet, that believe that they brought the freaking earthquake as well, which I do too. Spill fix doomed to fail. Too much oil was leaking from BP's well for top kill to work report found. And next one up is China to build cloud computing base in Harbin. And I guess if you're cloud seeding and you're performing weather modification where you're spraying, creating clouds out of chemicals, hey, what would you want? You want a cloud computing base. So, next one up, climate change strategy, be afraid, but only once. Climate change is the new global terror, says Al Gore. Obama's beast of a limo stands out at Green NATO Summit. Pharma researchers working on a drug to erase your memory. Haiti cholera could overrun Caribbean. Most Americans don't know GOP. UN official admits we redistribute